In this next section, I would like to mention events following the Lord's birth and the child Jesus. So we are at Matthew chapter 2, and I'll read all of chapter 2. Wise men from the east, verse 1. Now after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and have come to worship him. When Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he inquired of them where the Christ was to be born. So they said to him, In Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet, But you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are not the least among the rulers of Judah, for out of you shall come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel. Then Herod, when he had secretly called the wise men, determined from them what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, Go and search carefully for the young child, and when you have found him, bring back word to me, that I may come and worship him also. When they heard the king, they departed, and behold, the star which they had seen in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceedingly great joy. And when they had come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented gifts to him, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Then, being divinely warned in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed for their own country another way. The flight into Egypt, verse 13, continuing on. Now when they had departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, take the young child and his mother, flee to Egypt, and stay there until I bring you word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed for Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the Lord through the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt I called my son. And this is reference to the book of Hosea, chapter 11, verse 1. Continuing, massacre of the innocents. So we're still at chapter 2 of Matthew, verse 16. Then Herod, when he saw that he was deceived by the wise men, was exceedingly angry. And he sent forth and put to death all the male children who were in Bethlehem and in all its districts, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had determined from the wise men. Then was fulfilled what was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, A voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation, weeping, and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, refusing to be comforted, because they are no more. Continuing, the home in Nazareth, beginning with verse 19. Now when Herod was dead, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, Arise, take the young child and his mother, and go to the land of Israel, for those who sought the young child's life are dead. Then he arose, took the young child and his mother, and came into the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus was reigning over Judea instead of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there, and being warned by God in a dream, he turned aside into the region of Galilee. And he came and dwelt in a city called Nazareth, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophets, he shall be called a Nazarene. So Herod, the king, that was reigning over Jerusalem, did not receive from the Holy Spirit that this was the Christ. I think he possibly thought that, Jesus was king, as in he would take his place on the throne. He did not perceive that Jesus is the ultimate king. Herod did not have God's own heart. So all those babies, male babies, ended up being slaughtered in order that Jesus might be destroyed. But Jesus escaped. Because Jesus, being God, in the form of a man, had God's protection. He was in God's will from beginning to end. We turn now to Luke chapter 2. Beginning with verse 41. The boy Jesus amazes the scholars. It's a short section. I found it only Luke includes it out of the 4 Gospels. And I just wanted to read just to show just how Jesus was as a child. I thought it's interesting to note. His parents went to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up to Jerusalem according to the custom of the feast. When they had finished the days, as they returned, the boy Jesus lingered behind in Jerusalem, and Joseph and his mother did not know it. But supposing him to have been in the company, they went a day's journey and sought him among their relatives and acquaintances. So when they did not find him, they returned to Jerusalem seeking him. Now so it was that after 3 days they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the teachers, both listening to them and asking them questions. And all who heard him were astonished at his understanding and answers. So when they saw him, they were amazed, and his mother said to him, "Son, why have you done this to us? Look, your father and I have sought you anxiously." And he said to them, "Why did you seek me? Did you not know that I must be about my father's business?" But they did not understand the statement which he spoke to them. Continuing on with verse 51, Jesus advances in wisdom and favor. Then he went down with them and came to Nazareth and was subject to them, but his mother kept all these things in her heart. And Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and men. So I find this interesting that his parents, as they were returning home, they were supposing he was with them. He was not. He was still at Jerusalem. He stayed there after the feast of the Passover in his father's house in the temple. And it's interesting that he knew, it seems right from this that he knew already God's will for him. So I'm not sure if he already knew he was the Christ, because only later at his baptism, the Holy Spirit descended on him. We'll talk about that. But I can't help wondering if at 12 years old he knew that he was the Christ and he knew the purpose that he was to fulfill, which is the greatest burden that anyone can bear. No human can bear it. He's the only one that could bear it because he's God. But his parents did not know what to think. And although Mary received from the angel Gabriel, when she conceived, that he will be Lord, she still kept these things in her heart and to herself and just pondered them.